Hello, my name's theoliverpickard and welcome to beautiful Limousin, France. In today's video we're carrying on our lighting saga with Jolene, and we've got more LEDs, but this time it's for the fog lights. If you haven't watched the previous videos where we've been sorting out Jolene's lighting and modernising it and making it more efficient and better and so it actually works, don't worry, you can watch those videos after. But in a previous episode we tidied up these fog lamps, but they've been sat on the car not wired up because Jolene's 6 volt and the bulbs in these are 12 volt halogen. But worry not, because I ordered some 6 volt LED bulbs. These bulbs are, I think you can even use them as motorcycle headlight bulbs. They're a 2-pin bulb from classic car LEDs. And I also ordered some bulb holders. But I have a little bit of a problem, and that is that the bulbs in these fog lights are teeny tiny flat 2-pin bulbs that you can't get as 6 volt and you can't get as LEDs. So I'm pretty much scuppered. I only have one option, and that is to modify these fog lights to fit these LEDs. But it's not quite that simple, because these are so big that even if I modify the fog light to fit the LED inside, the LED can go all the way in until it touches the glass and the back still won't go on. That's how long this assembly is. So I also have to modify the bulb holder. So in today's video we'll be converting this bulb holder into a low profile one, and we'll be converting this fog light into an LED. But first things first, let's get on. There we go. So first things first, let's take the fog light off and carry it over to the table. We've come inside to my house and I've got a bunch of tools that I'm going to use for today's thing. They're simple tools: pliers, a hacksaw, some assorted files and stuff like that. But before we get started, I'm just going to take the jumper off because I'm roasting, and put it over here. Right, so I'll show you the bulb that, where's my LED gone? They're here, the LED's here. So we've got our fog light here. And before I get into it, I'm just going to show you the difference, take the bulb out of this, and show you the difference between the bulb we're using and the old bulb. So this is the old bulb, and it fits on a little mechanism, like a spring clip, and it's a 2-pin bulb that's actually kind of crimped into its holder, and then you push the holder into a bigger holder, and it fits almost flush in the headlight. And in the fog light. See, I told you I was going to do that a lot. And the fog light back almost touches the back of this. Now let's compare sizes. So this is the old and this is the new. That's a big problem. And what it means is that the back of this light bulb holder needs to basically fit flush in the back of that bulb. And as you can see, it sticks out quite a long way. It actually goes beyond the glass if I put it flush. So what we're going to do today is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a rag. So I've just realised I don't want to put the glass down on the table. So if you'll just forgive me a minute. What we're going to do now is I basically need to file out the back of this, because the reason we have a 2CV headlight bucket on this table, these are the headlight buckets I took out of Jolene yesterday, is we need a rubber grommet. We need something to hold this bulb holder and the bulb inside here. We need something to fit in between the metal rear casing of the fog light and the bulb holder, so that it can vibrate and stuff. And I think the perfect thing to use is this old grommet out of the back of Jolene's old headlight. If I can get it out. Because the bulb holder, come on, get it out. There we go. Ta-da. This, we no longer need this now. Pop that there. Because this grommet is a 20mm internal diameter grommet. And the bulb holder, this is another issue. This flange here is I think it's like 19.7 millimeters, whereas the bulb holder diameter is 19.5. So we actually need a bigger hole than the bulb holder to go through, and then it has to hold onto the bulb. And on this particular model of Cibié, you can't separate the back from the lens. Can't do it, it's not possible. So I have to figure out a way of holding this bulb, having a hole big enough for this to pass through, but then this not fall into. And the way that I've figured is to simply use this grommet from the back of a 2CV headlight. Because we like to use every part of the animal here at the Oliver Pickard YouTube channel. But obviously, the first things first, the hole is not big enough. Now if I just get my calipers, or vernier, I can measure that. I can show you. So why did I say 19 the other day? Right, so that's 17.8. That's the flange on the bulb, and the actual bulb holder is 17.5. And at the back it's 16.9, it actually tapers, which is even worse. The bulb holder tapers and the bulb is bigger than the bulb holder. So it's pretty much as difficult as it could possibly be. But that's okay, because I've figured it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this 20mm, the internal diameter is inside the grommet, by the way, inside this flange. That's 20mm. So we're going to make up the difference with the grommet. So we need to file out a hole in the back of there. I have a whiteboard marker, and we have here a socket that just happens to be 20mm. In fact, I think it's 20.3. But it's close enough. And what we're going to do is hold it central. Obviously, there's a bit of give in the grommet itself as well. So fortunately, this is not an exact science. But that's pretty damn perfect, if I don't say so myself. If you're not confident about if you're doing something like this, which why would you? It's a massive faff. If you're not confident, you can always measure from kind of corner to corner and then corner to corner, and that'll give you a cross, and then you can draw a circle in the cross or a square in the circle and do it that way. A square in the cross and then put your circle in the square. But I think I've got it pretty damn spot on there. And now all I need is a half moon file. I'm going to start off with a half moon file, and then I'll use a round file later on. When you're doing this, if you do this, you've got to be really careful you don't hit the glass, obviously, because if you hit the glass with the end of a file, it'll knacker your fog light, and then you'll be after another. So, and just take it very slowly and not apply a lot of pressure. It files very nicely, this stuff, so it's not so bad, it's only thin. And for those of you who doubt my filing skills, that's pretty damn spot on round. Thank you very much. And our measurement says, wear these carpets out a bit, put it down. What am I doing? Put it down. And we are 19.8, 18.8, sorry, 18.8. 19. That's not bad, that. Okay, where's our little grommet gone? Where have all the grommets gone? There we go. And our grommet is, it's been painted black at some point, I don't know why. This was on the outside of the car. We're actually going to put the nice, obviously the nice grey side towards the inside. Now there's a rubber flange on the inside of this that I'm not a great fan of, because obviously my bulb holder isn't that big. So I'm just going to get a pair of snips and just cut it away. It's really nice when you can order things from catalogues and they just fit and stuff, but that's not always the case. And sometimes when you're doing stuff on an old car like Jolene or something, and you want something that doesn't exist, you've just got to make it. And that often means adapting stuff from other stuff and using what you've got. And I'm a big fan of using what you've got, as you can tell on this channel. Okay, so let's try it for diameter before we mod our bulb and bulb holder. The bulb's staying standard, but the bulb holder's got to be half as big. And slightly tricky. But it's difficult because you want to keep it as tight as possible, but oh sugar! But at the same time, you want to be able to get your bulb in. Okay, so the bulb will go in, but the bulb holder's obviously way too big. So we need to make this bulb holder a lot smaller. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half. Yep. Like I said, it's a delicate balance because you want to get your bulb and your bulb holder as tightly as possible. You want a really nice, secure fit. But at the same time, you can now put that down. At the same time, obviously you don't want the bulb to be, wiggling around in there and vibrating around in there. So you want a really nice tight fit, but at the same time you don't want to get your bulb stuck. So what we're going to do with this, well, we're going to put our LED to one side for now because we can't actually do anything to make the LED smaller. It is what it is. However, this bulb holder, I'll come round there and show you. Okay, so this bulb holder, can you see how it's quite tall? And when we put the bulb in, the bulb, it's hard doing it away from you, there we go, goes in and fits into that hook. So all of this part of the bulb holder is basically just wasted space. So what's the plan? The plan is to take the bulb holder apart. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend down, whoop, it's easy, went down and across, like that. So I'm just going to extend down, across and up. And then what I can do is I can cut half the bulb holder off. It will involve cutting the spring down as well. Like I say, it's quite a convoluted process. But it's the best, most secure way of holding my bulb. And to do it, I'm going to need a drill. So yeah, I'm going to take my bulb holder apart. I'm going to take my, still on. I'm going to take this plastic base out of here. To do that, all you do is you tip it on an angle, you compress it, you tip it on an angle and pop it out sideways. I'm going to go back on the table because it feels weird sat there. All you have to do is kind of push a pair of pointy nosed pliers in and your spring and your base and all of that comes straight out. This is a whiteboard marker that I've been using on the headlight. I'm going to get a permanent marker and then I can mark it out better. And then with a drill, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in this small vise, and drill it out the best I can in the shape of the J. Now I've got it all filed out, grommets in, move it over there, that way I don't damage it. Move that bulb. I'll keep these bulbs, by the way, they might come in handy one day for something. I tend to keep everything, because you never know. And when you put your little bulb holder, bulb base thing in the vise, make sure you put it in kind of that way, not that way. Otherwise, when you tighten it, it'll crush the case, because obviously it's not very strong. So you just pop it in and tighten it up. Get a drill. And you want to use a teeny tiny drill bit. What I'm going to do, because it's very difficult to cut this, I'm going to try and drill it out the best I can using a teeny tiny little drill bit, and drilling as close to each other as I can each hole. And then what I'm going to do afterwards, I'm going to go in those same holes with a bigger drill bit, and hopefully the two holes that are apart from each other like this, when I drill them with a bigger drill bit, it'll make a slot. That's the plan anyway. Oh, you son of a gun. That's the problem with teeny tiny drill bits. Occasionally, they snap. Damn it. There we go. Even though I'm not perfect, fortunately, I've got a case of Aldi drill bits. Ta-da! Now then, 2 mil. There you go. And I can dress this up on a grinder because it's only the very tip that's snapped. So I can actually dress it up on a bench grinder at a later date. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these drills. Those over here, that over there, out of the way. And now I'm going to slice it with the hacksaw. Very gently. At this point, it's really easy to bend it at this point. The thing is, just take your time with it, because the more time you take to get it right, the better. Yeah, when I was a little kid, I used to say to my mum and my dad, when I grow up I want a rally car. Or whatever, you know, whatever the thing may be. And my mum used to say, well, your dad built his rally car, so if you want a rally car, you'll have to build it yourself. Or it might have just been something small, you know, and my mum and my dad's like, well, if you want it, make it. And got quite good at it over the years. You know, if I want a house barn, make it. If you want a smart 2CV, make it. Oh, my back tables are not good when you're 6'6". I'm too tall for tables. It's official. Very fiddly job though. This vise is covered in grease because everything's obviously being stored at the moment. Like, we're not exactly, I don't have a house yet, never mind a workshop. Everything's in storage, so like, the vise is covered in grease and the drill press is covered in grease and everything's minging just so it won't oxidize. Because the last thing you want when you get your nice workshop sorted is a lot of rusty tools. just because they've been exposed to the air and they haven't been in a nice warm workshop. And it means that everything I touch is horrible. So I'm using a little triangle file now, just to get my edges nice. So I've been filing this out, and that's what you want to go for. Basically, just so that when we put our bulb in, it'll hold the bulb. Put that there. Now what I have to do is I have to cut my spring down, because obviously we've cut the thing in half, so we need to the holder in half, so we need to cut the spring in half. And I'm going to cut it level with the end of the spring on the bottom. Show that properly. You may hear it's raining. So I've just lined it up with the end of the spring on the top. And my tool slipped. Come on. You have to be careful when you're cutting a spring, because they can boing, or they can boing away, and then you'll never ever find them ever again. They're gone forever. And also I need to cut, there's two little flats on here, and I need to cut those off as well. Where's my snips that I just had? That greasy horrible vice can go. Take that one off. That one off. So we're now going to place our cut down spring in. My wire's all frayed. So we're now going to place our cut down spring inside our bulb holder that's also been cut down, like that. Then we're going to place our positive terminal in like that. And then we're going to place our bulb in. Okay, it's getting silly. So I had to cut away for a minute there because we had torrential rain. But I've assembled it all. I've put my valve. I've put my bulb holder in the actual headlight, and now all I have to do is run around it with a little bit of silicone, just to make it weatherproof. Because the last thing you want is water to get in between, obviously. And that is basically it. Your finished article. Just make sure your bulb's straight before you put your silicone in. The bulb actually isn't touching the lens; it's just away. But most of the light comes from the sides anyway, and I think it looks brilliant. I've wired up the car, and I'll go through how I wired up the car tomorrow when I test it and show you all. But this is your finished unit. How cool is that? Like I say, tomorrow morning, it's raining too hard now, but tomorrow morning we'll pop it in the car and I'll show you how it works. But I ran all the wiring through this morning because it's a laborious process that's not very good to film. And depending on how your car is, like if you've got a 12-volt car, you'll have to use a relay. You won't be able to wire it like mine. But just in case you have a 6-volt car, I'll run you through how I did the wiring tomorrow morning, because it's 5:30 now and it's not going to stop raining by the look of it. We've had thunder, we've had lightning, and I really don't want to be messing around with electrics now. So I'm going to say I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll test it in the morning. So it's officially tomorrow. We've gone from having the driest summer on record to two of the wettest, rainiest months I've ever known. It's been absolutely crazy, but Jolene's fog light is done. The reason we put the silicone around the back and turn it basically into a sealed beam unit is because, as one of the commenters pointed out last week, LEDs don't create a lot of heat. And because LEDs don't create a lot of heat, and these fog lights are quite low down, they're in the spray of other cars. So the last thing I want is foggy fog lights. And I don't want the inside of my fog light getting wet. They're already a sealed unit as is. I've just made them extra watertight. So they won't fill up with rain if I'm driving in like heavy rain and I've got a truck in front of me and it's you know, cannoning water onto the front of the car. I won't have foggy fog lights. So, wiring. What have I done? How have I done it? I told you I'd walk you through it. So, because we're on a 6-volt car, I've taken power from the battery lead to the starter, and I've brought it all the way forward into both headlights. So it's one power wire into 2 wires, and my earth wire, or my negative, runs all the way back through to the dash switch. It has an inline fuse in it. I didn't put a relay in it because the power's so short. It's 6 volt and it doesn't use a lot of power because of the 2 LEDs. Obviously at this point it splits off into 2 cables, 1 for each fog light. It's very simple really. And the negative just connects to an earth screw. So that's as simple as auto electrics get really. So now we can finally put these in. If you were a 12-volt car, I would highly suggest that you use a relay, because you don't want to burn your car down, and you have to use an inline fuse no matter what you do. So I've used a tiny little inline fuse. Like I say, 6-volt 2CVs don't have fuses. So my car officially now has 1 fuse. So I've just used little push together connectors, pop it all together, find the bottom, and click. Our headlights are all together. It's still not very nice weather, if I'm honest. But it's okay. It's not so bad. I'll just pop our screws in the sides. Like I say, it's pretty much the simplest way you can wire up a set of fog lights. But if you have a 2CV6, if your car is a 12-volt car, then you need to do it another way. If you have an older car, so if you have a car that is pre-1963, if you have a pre-1963 6-volt 2CV, then you've got a positive earth. That's a different way of wiring again. The reason why I didn't show myself wiring this car is because it's a very specific set of wiring for this very specific car. Like I say, if you have a car before Jolene, it's different. If you have a car after Jolene that's 12 volt from 1970 onwards, that's different again. And so I highly suggest everybody runs inline fuses, and if you have a positive earth car, you wire it positive earth. If you wire it, you know, if you've got a negative earth car, you do it negative earth. You can find really simple wiring diagrams online for whatever car you have. So it's all together now. It's been an absolute ordeal as this video. We've had thunder, lightning, rainstorms, all for a fog light. Unfortunately, I need them now. This is the time of year when I need my lights working more than ever. And like I said, I've just been super OCD with my cable routing. I also turned there's some little widgets, if you just give me the camera, there's some little widgets in the back of the fog lights. There. And spin my microphone back round. And the little widgets have 2 holes in for each wire, but they're kind of an outie. And I took them out and I turned them around and put them back in again to make them an innie, because I didn't want to use 2 separate pieces of wire. I wanted to use a piece of flex that makes it extra weather tight. So it's weather tight, then weather tight again. So, and my only connection, other than inside the fog lights, is up here. So there we have it, functional fog lights. They give off tons of light. I'm really, really happy about how they've turned out. It was a bit of a task to do, it was incredibly fiddly, but I'm really happy with it. I don't think I'll be in a rush to do another set, but hopefully I won't have to for a long, long time, because these, I think these are absolutely superb. And these are 30,000 hours, I think, these LEDs. So they should have a good long life before I have to swap them out again. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down below. If you have any comments or questions, please just leave them in the comments, and I answer every single comment and question that you always ask me. Oh, it's raining again. If you like this video, please click like down below. It helps me massively, and it lets YouTube know I exist, because they don't know yet. What else? Please be awesome to each other, and I'll see you all in the next video. It's horrible, it's raining, I'm going in. Bye, I want a cup of tea.